There you go.
Has anyone ever thought any bad things about special ed kids? Be honest, raise your hand if you have. So every time a student is classified into special ed, there's a lot of things that happen through a parent's mind. A lot of parents guilt themselves into thinking maybe I should have done something differently, maybe the outcomes could have been differently. In 2017, 11.8% of children in public schools in California were enrolled into special ed classes. So stigma in special ed is very important because it leads to bullying. Bullying, the reason why is because a lot of people are misinformed about special ed. They believe myths based on what people say, and we have to educate ourselves a little more before judging them. The three topics that I'll be talking about today is the stigma, the myths, and how we can change our minds with special ed. So what is stigma? Stigma is a negative connotation we give to something that we might not be very familiar with. This does affect special ed kids because, believe it or not, some kids are very smart and they understand when they're being bullied on. According to edwic.org 2017, many parents go through different stages of griefs and they think that maybe if I expose my child reading more educational stuff or if I expose them to more educational TV, I could have changed the outcome of my child. But sadly, children are born like this, they have defects, and there's really nothing a parent can do but support them. According to Zell's Friendship Circle 2011, kids classified because teachers or parents notice some difficulties in learning. Schools, if the parent wants the child to be evaluated, schools, part of the district will set up a test, and the test will determine whether or not they have difficulties in one subject or have a social problem. So some of the myths that I will be discussing is once you get in, you never get out. That's not true. The school is trying to help the student but also get them out at the same time. They don't want to have so many students in one class. The class can maybe typically have 10 kids in there, but they're trying to at the same time help them and get them out. So they would also assess them at the end of the year, just as the beginning, to see if they have improved and are ready to merge into a regular class. Kids in special ed have to be in separate classrooms. That's not true. There are many cases where kids are considered to be special, but they get special programs. So, for example, a kid could have speech difficulties, so a speech therapist will come in for 30 minutes a day and talk to them and give them their help, and then they will go back to the class. According to Sheffer's Stigma and Label 2013, a lot of these kids are classified because they may have strengths of mathematics and are lower in English. So that's where it comes them being special. Another one is kids in special educations don't get a good education. That's not true. That's why we have special ed teachers, and they are classified to teach these kids. Of course, for example, if we say a kindergartner and a regular kindergartner, the special ed teacher will have similar plans, just like the normal teacher, but it might take a little slower for the student to learn. So they would just have to adjust it a bit, but they always will try to contribute both of them together so the kid wouldn't be left out or anything. So besides the myth, how can we kind of change our perspective towards it? So of course, bullying. We need to teach our kids that bullying is not okay. According to McCarthy, what special schools need, 2018, is that we need to teach the administration and teachers to have children respect other students. Just because maybe this kid is struggling to read a bit, we need to make sure that these kids understand, yes, it takes a while for them to read, but that's no way to make fun of them. send some kind of consequences for bullying them. And of course, making sure teachers and administrators are prepared for these kids. Like I said before, some kids don't end up going into special ed classes. They stay in regular classes and they get the services they need, but teachers also have to be very aware of how they could kind of contribute the same activities they're doing, but also not make the other kids and that kid feel kind of like, oh, notice that I'm doing something different than the other kid. And according to, I blanked out, to McCarthy, what school, no, not McCarthy, oh my God, to more students of law, teachers need to be updated on what they teach the students, not to just teach the same thing, because trust me, kids get bored very easily, so that they have to make something else fun. For example, if they're learning the sounds, make a game out of it, make a bingo game out of it, so kids can get more interested in also learning at the same time. So I talked about the stigma, the myths about special education and how we can kind of change the way we see it. So stigma is a very important lesson. Stigma is a very important topic because it leads to bullying, and we need to kind of understand what special ed is, and we have to understand what it is and teach others that, you know, what you hear from others is not necessarily always true. And then if you want more information, you can always look at the school's website. If you know someone who you think maybe needs special ed, as a guardian, you have rights to go and ask the administration or the principal, and they will assess a test for you and let you know. Also, if get accepted to any of these programs, you do get benefits out of it. The government pays you, basically. Thank you.